He owed money to Whitey Bulger. The most feared mobster in Boston was hunting him down, so he fled the city with nothing. Fast forward 25 years later, he just won $27 million in 3 months playing cards at one casino. The same guy who was running from gangsters is now betting $400,000 per hand. But here's the crazy part. Gambling isn't even his biggest success story. Dana White bought a dying fighting organization for $2 million and turned it into a $12 billion empire. This is the story of the ultimate comeback, from mobster debts to $500 million. You won't believe how it all started. The Boston Hustler. Dana White was born to hustle, but not in the way you'd expect. Growing up, he bounced between Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Las Vegas. His mom was a nurse who moved the family to Vegas when Dana was in 3rd grade because nurses got paid more there. But Dana was a troublemaker. He got kicked out of the same Catholic high school twice. The second time was for repeatedly kicking a nun's classroom door shut. That's not normal teenage rebellion. That's a future fight promoter in training. After barely graduating high school, Dana tried college twice. Quincy College first, then UMass Boston. He dropped out both times during his first semester. College wasn't for him. He needed action. So he moved back to Boston and started working real jobs. He paved roads with an asphalt company. He worked as a bouncer at an Irish bar called the Black Rose and got fired for fighting. Then he became a bellman at the Boston Harbor Hotel. But Dana had bigger dreams. He started boxing at 17 and met Peter Welch, a legendary South Boston fighter. They opened a boxing gym together in the Rough McDonough Gym behind the courthouse in Southie. Dana thought he might go pro, but one day he saw a punch-drunk boxer and realized he didn't want his brain scrambled, so he became a boxing coach instead. He was learning the fight business from the streets up. Then everything went wrong. Dana owed $2,500 to the wrong people. Whitey Bulger and Kevin Weeks, 2 of Boston's most dangerous criminals. These weren't guys you could negotiate payment plans with. So Dana did the only smart thing. He ran the Vegas Gambler. But he had learned something valuable in Boston, how the fight game worked. He started managing fighters, including 2 guys who would change his life, Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. While managing fighters, Dana discovered something about himself. He was a degenerate gambler, not casual weekend gambling. High stakes bet everything you have gambling. His gambling stories are legendary. He once got blackout drunk in Rio and lost $3 million in one night. He woke up thinking he'd only lost $80,000. When the casino called asking if he needed his room again, he realized the truth. But Dana wasn't just losing money. He was winning too, big time. In 2024 alone, he won between $26 and $27 million from Caesar's Palace over 3 months. He placed $300,000 to $400,000 per hand at baccarat. Most people's houses cost less than one of his bets. Casinos have banned him multiple times, not for cheating, but for winning too much. At the Palms, they lowered his betting limit from $25,000 to $5,000 per hand because he kept beating them. He still won $2 million and got banned again. Dana's gambling isn't just about money, it's about the rush. The same personality that made him face down mobsters made him fearless at the card tables. But his biggest gamble wasn't in a casino. In 2000, while managing Liddell and Ortiz, Dana learned that the UFC was dying. Semaphore Entertainment Group, which owned the UFC, was going broke. The company was about to disappear forever. Most people would have walked away. The UFC had a terrible reputation. Politicians called it human cockfighting. It was banned in most states. Pay-per-view numbers were pathetic. The company was losing money every month. But Dana saw something others didn't. He went to a UFC event and thought, what if they did this differently? What if they did that? This thing could actually be really big. So he called his childhood friend Lorenzo Fertitta. They'd known each other since high school, but weren't close until they reconnected at a wedding. Lorenzo and his brother Frank owned station casinos and were worth hundreds of millions. millions. Dana pitched them the idea. Let's buy the UFC. The Fertitta brothers thought he was crazy. They were casino executives, not fight promoters. But Dana convinced them. In January 2001, they bought the UFC for $2 million. But here's the crazy part. They barely got anything for that money. Just the 3 letters. UFC, an old wooden octagon, and about 12 fighter contracts. The previous owners had stripped everything else to avoid bankruptcy. They even had to buy back the DVD rights from Lionsgate for another $2 million. So really, they spent $4 million for a dying brand that everyone hated. The Fertitta brothers put Dana in as president and gave him 9% ownership, but they weren't making money. By 2004, they'd invested over $40 million with no profit. Everyone thought they'd lost their minds. The comeback plan. Dana knew the UFC needed legitimacy, so he created the unified rules of mixed martial arts, weight classes, time limits, banned dangerous techniques. He made it a sport, not a street fight. He hired Joe Rogan as a commentator to explain what was happening to casual fans. He lobbied states to legalize MMA. He made deals to get back on pay-per-view. But the real breakthrough was the Ultimate Fighter reality show in 2005. TV networks wouldn't pay for it, so Dana and the Fertittas funded it themselves. The finale fight between Stephan Bonnar and Forrest Griffin was so exciting, it saved the entire company. Suddenly, everyone wanted to watch the UFC. Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz became huge stars. Pay-per-view numbers exploded. By 2006, they hit their first million buys with Liddell versus Ortiz. Dana was building more than a fight company. He was creating a media empire. He signed TV deals with Spike TV, then Fox Sports. He expanded internationally. He discovered and promoted superstars like Anderson Silva, Georges St. Pierre, and later Ronda Rousey. But Dana's masterstroke was Conor McGregor. He saw McGregor's potential before anyone else and promoted him like a boxing superstar. McGregor's fights broke pay-per-view records and made the UFC mainstream. By 2015, the UFC was generating $600 million in revenue. Dana had turned $2 million into a billion-dollar company in 14 years. The $4 billion payday. In 2016, everything changed. WMEM offered to buy the UFC for $4 billion. That's 2,000 times what the Fertitta brothers paid for it. Dana didn't want to sell. He'd built this company from nothing. It was his baby. But the Fertitta brothers were ready to cash out. When the deal closed, Dana's 9% ownership was worth $360 million after taxes. A guy who once owed $2,500 to mobsters just made more money than most people will see in 100 lifetimes. But here's what made Dana different from other executives who sell and retire. He stayed. The new owners kept him as president with a $20 million annual salary because they knew he was the UFC. Since 2016, Dana has only gotten more powerful. He oversaw the UFC's merger with WWE to create TKO Group Holdings, now worth over $20 billion. He launched Power Slap, a slap fighting league. He joined Meta's board of directors in 2025. Dana also negotiated the biggest media deal in combat sports history, a $7.7 billion agreement with Paramount and CBS starting in 2026. For the first time ever, fans won't need to pay for pay-per-view to watch UFC fights. His gambling has reached insane levels too. He regularly wins or loses millions in single nights. Casinos give him private suites and unlimited credit because even when he wins, the publicity is worth millions. Empire. Today, Dana White's net worth is $500 million, but he built something bigger than wealth. He created an entirely new sport. When Dana bought the UFC in 2001, mixed martial arts was underground. Now, it's one of the fastest growing sports in the world, with events on 6 continents. Dana discovered that controversy sells. Every time politicians attack the UFC, It generated publicity. He turned being the bad guy into a marketing strategy. He also understood something others didn't. In the social media age, the promoter can be as famous as the athletes. Dana made himself the face of the UFC. His press conferences get millions of views. Dana's not just a businessman, he's an entertainer. He trash talks reporters and never backs down from anyone. The same personality that got him in trouble with mobsters made him perfect for promoting fights. His greatest achievement is proving you can literally bet everything and win. He gambled on the UFC when everyone said it would fail. Dana White went from owing money to murderers to making $27 million gambling in 3 months, from buying a dying fight company for $2 million to selling it for $4 billion, from nobody knowing his name to being one of the most powerful people in sports. But the real lesson of Dana's story isn't about money or gambling or even business success. It's about vision. When everyone else saw problems, Dana saw possibilities. When everyone said the UFC would never work, he saw the future of entertainment. Dana proved that if you're willing to take the biggest risks, you can win the biggest rewards. Whether it's $400,000 on a single hand of cards or betting your entire future on a controversial sport that everyone hates. Today, Dana White is worth $500 million and shows no signs of slowing down. The kid who ran from Boston mobsters became the king of Las Vegas. That's not just a business success story. That's the American dream with a knockout punch.